So you're looking for a comprehensive guide to your first powerlifting meet. Well, look no further because this video is for you. Hi team, my name is Dom from New Zealand Powerlifting Academy. And in today's video, we're going to talk about everything you need to know when it comes to your first powerlifting meet. Powerlifting meets can run for a very long time. And to perform at your best, you want to make sure that you're properly fueled for the entirety of game day. This means preparing your food and drinks a few days prior to the meet. When it comes to drinks, most competition venues will have access to drinking water, but bringing your own will always help. When it comes to food, I'm not going to go into great depth of what you should and shouldn't eat on game day. I just want you to emphasize carbs. You want to make sure that you'll have access to carbs always and that you'll never run out. Another thing you'll need to know a few days out from the meet is exactly when weigh-in is. More specifically, the weigh-in time for your age category, your weight class, or your gender. Meet directors will often organize their competitions in either of those three categories, so watch out for that. I like to tell my guys to arrive at the venue 10 to 15 minutes prior to the start of weigh-in. This gives them time to look for the specific weigh-in room, and outside the weigh-in room, there should be a list of names and numbers, which would be your lot numbers, that dictates your weigh-in order. If your lot number is low, this means you are early in the weigh-in order and you want to stay near the weigh-in room just in case the referee calls out your name to be weighed in. If you miss your weigh-in order, you'll have to go at the back of the line and wait for everybody else to weigh in before you can try to weigh in again. If your lot number is high, this means that you'll be late in the weigh-in order, and this might give you some time to get your gear checked. Gear check is when the referee checks all the pieces of equipment that you'll be wearing on the platform. This includes soft suit, belt, t-shirt, long socks, or any socks that you'll be wearing on the platform, any pair of shoes that you'll be wearing on the platform, wrist wraps, pretty much everything that's going to go on the platform. Okay, back to weigh-in. Make sure that you wear clothes and shoes that are easy to take on and off. It'll make the entire weigh-in process really smooth and quick. Another thing that you'll need is your openers. Don't worry too much about locking in your openers. At weigh-in, you can change your openers up to 3 minutes prior to the start of lifting. Once you've weighed in, the referee might also give you your attempt cards here. If not, ask the referee where you can get your attempt cards. Most of the time, it'll be at the desk as well. After weigh-in is the time for you to start eating and drinking so that your body has time to process the food prior to you hitting the platform. Another thing that you'll need to do is get your rack heights done. By this time, people might already be lining up to get their rack heights done for the squat rack and the bench. But if not, you can start this process yourself. Just find one of the loading crew and then they'll be able to assist you with that. Next, you'll want to find the warm-up room and get yourself situated. See how many racks there are to work with and then start to mentally prepare yourself when it comes to sharing racks with other people. It is also important to note the order of lifting that you're in, if you're in the first flight or the second flight. That way you can time your warm-ups correctly. For the purpose of this video, we're going to assume that you're in the first flight or perhaps there's only one flight in your session. Next is finding people to share your warm-up racks with. Most of the time, you want to find someone of relatively similar rack height or relatively similar bar load. This makes everything go so much smoother in the back room. Although most of the time also, this won't be perfect. So you're just going to have to work with what you have. Most athletes will start warming up anywhere between 30 to 50 minutes prior to the start of lifting. Whatever your plan is, make sure you consider the fact that you'll be working in with someone. So it's often much better to start early and then slow down your warm-ups later than start late and then speed things up when there's lots of foot traffic on the warm-up racks. Since this is your first competition, you might not be very sure of the openers that you declared at warm-ups. So what you want to do is finish your last warm-ups 5 to 4 minutes prior to the start of lifting. This gives you a couple of minutes to think about whether you can change your opener or not. Again, there's a 3-minute rule. You can only change your last warm-up up to 3 minutes prior to the start of lifting. All right, on to the squats. Next thing you'll do is you want to check the lifting order. Most of the time it's going to be from a TV screen near the waiting area. And then just note that you want to make yourself ready 1 to 2 lifters prior to your bar being loaded. Once the bar is loaded for your squats, you can walk onto the platform and unrack in your own time. You'll have to wait for a squat command. This is given when the referees are happy with your start position, which means hips and knees locked out. If you're getting a longer squat command, this means that the referees aren't very happy with your start position and you'll likely have to squeeze your knees a bit harder or lock your hips out further. Once you get the squat command, however, the next thing you have to make sure of is to squat down and hit depth. Depth is when you squat and the hip joint is below the top surface of the knee. Once you've stood up with your squat and hit your end position, you'll have to wait for the rack command. Just to recap, bar is loaded, you're going to walk onto the platform, unrack at your own time, you're going to be given a squat command, you're going to hit depth, you're going to stand back up, and then you're going to wait for a rack command. Once you've finished your lift, you can look for the lights and look for a majority decision. White lights means good lift, and red lights means no lift. So again, majority decision. Although 3 white lights is good, you only need 2. After your lift, you'll have 1 minute to declare your next attempt via the attempt card that you got from weigh-in. 1 minute isn't a very long time, so more often than not, you'll have a planned jump that then you would adjust if you deem so necessary based on the previous attempt that you just made. You'll have 3 squat attempts, and the heaviest attempt that you made will be registered and added to your total. Next up is warming up for bench press. If there's only 1 flight in your session, you'll have 20 minutes to warm up. If there's 2 flights, you'll have the other flight or the next flight after yours plus 5 minutes in between. When it comes to warming up on the bench press, the same rule applies as the squats. You want to warm up with someone of relatively similar bench rack height and relatively similar bar loaded. Again, so that it makes your warm-ups all go smoothly. The same rule also applies when it comes to changing your openers 3 minutes prior to the lifting starts. Again, you want to finish your warm-up around about 4 to 5 minutes prior to the lifting starts so that you'll have a couple of minutes to think about whether to change your opener or not. You'll want to check your lifting order and then get yourself ready 1 to 2 lifters prior to your bar being loaded. Once your bar is loaded, you'll have 1 minute to get yourself set up and unrack at your own time. You can also use the assistance of your center loader to unrack the bar for you. When you're doing this, you want to make sure you communicate with your center loader when and how you want the bar unracked for yourself. Once the bar is unracked, wait for the start command. The start command is given when the referees are happy with your start position. Your head's on the bench, your shoulders on the bench, and your hips are on the bench, and your feet's flat. Also that your elbows are locked out. If you are getting a longer start command, this means that the referees may not be happy with your start position. Once you do get the start command though, you can just take the bar to your chest at your own time. Once the bar is on your chest, you want to make sure that the bar is motionless on your chest. This is then when you wait for a press command. It's important to note that the press command isn't given based on a set amount of time. You don't have to pause the bar on your chest for 1 or 2 seconds. You only have to pause it as long as you can get the bar motionless on your chest. Although it's a little bit mean, if the bar is moving around on your chest for a long period of time, the center ref can technically give you a longer press command. Once you do get the press command, you can then press the bar to lockout or end position. And once you're at end position or at lockout, wait for the referee to give you a rack command. After that attempt, you then again look for that majority decision and have 1 minute to declare your next attempt. Again, it's important to have a planned jump or a planned second or third attempt and adjust it with the quality of the previous attempt that you just took if you find it necessary to adjust. You'll have 3 bench attempts, and after your 3 bench attempts, the heaviest attempt will be recorded and added to your total. Then we're on to the deadlift warm-ups. By now, you should have gotten a feel of the warm-up timing, but just in case you needed a reminder, if it's 1 flight, you'll have 20 minutes to warm up for your deadlifts. If it's 2 flights, you'll have the entirety of the second flight plus 5 minutes before the start of your deadlift. Now, when it comes to warming up for the deadlift, you don't have to worry about rack heights anymore. One thing that can be a little bit considerate is to share the bar with someone that is of relatively similar bar load. Same rule when it comes to changing your opener. You'll have up until 3 minutes before the start of the lifting. So you want to finish your last warm up 4 to 5 minutes prior to the start of lifting. Check the lifting order. Make sure you're ready 1 to 2 lifters before your bar is loaded. And once the bar is loaded, you'll have a minute to start your lift. For the deadlift, you don't have to wait for a start command. Once the bar is loaded, you can walk onto the platform, set yourself up, and just start lifting. Once you've locked out the weight, the only command that you'll have to wait for is the down command. You'll be given the down command once the referee deems you to have reached your end position. What they're looking for are shoulders locked out, hips locked out, and knees locked out. Now, don't drop the bar. You'll have to have your hands on it as the bar hits the floor. You don't have to lower it slowly, but again, those hands do have to be on the bar. Okay, just a quick command recap. Okay, just one command, down. All right, again, bars loaded, you go up onto the platform, do your own setup, lift the weight, and wait for the down command. Now, after the attempt, again, looking for that majority decision with 1 minute to submit your next attempt. Again, having planned second and third attempts is good, and having them adjusted based on your previous attempt if you feel so necessary is even better. There is a slightly different rule when it comes to attempts on the deadlift, more specifically the third attempt. You can change your third attempt twice on the last deadlift. This is for competitive reason, but seeing as you are in your first powerlifting meet, you probably don't have to worry too much about this one. Just know that even though you've declared your third attempt, you can always change it twice. Out of the 3 deadlift attempts, your heaviest successful attempt will be added to your total once again, and now you have a complete total. So there you have it. You just finished your first powerlifting meet. Congratulations, and you have a total that you can improve on for your next powerlifting meet. You want to make sure that you thank the officials, the referees, the desk staff, and also the spotters for the great time that you just had. Hopefully, you meet some new powerlifting friends and sign up for the next meet and start your powerlifting journey. And once again, this is Dom from New Zealand Powerlifting Academy. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully, you found it very, very informative, and share this with your friends who are looking at getting into powerlifting so that they can help them for their very first powerlifting meet.